Hello and welcome everybody to round number 10 here at League of Europe for the Portuguese Grand Prix for Division number 4, heading past the second or into the second half of the season last time out in Hungary, and we're about to head into what is going to be a first time here at League of Europe, and it's going to be the Portuguese Grand Prix for these drivers here tonight. But take us through this inaugural Portuguese Grand Prix in the commentators booth. It's going to be myself, QVR Packer, and alongside me once again it's going to be REL Nolan. How's it going, Jack?
Oh, it's going absolutely fan-dabby-ding-dang-dozy, mate. FIFA's come out, happy time, we're all angry. Portugal, the first and only time we'll be doing it, because I'm pretty sure we won't have it in the game next year. It's going to be good, a good track for anything to happen, really.
Yeah, hopefully it will be pretty nice. It's a fantastic track to drive in, especially qualifying. Just to push
wow.
to...
Rub it in.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, that was a dig. That was a dig because I can't qualify. Unreal.
Yeah, if you were to wear, Jack has a qualifying ban for D2. But anyways.
Unbelievable. Especially in qualifying. This guy.
I didn't mean it like that. But yeah, it is a fantastic track to hot lap around and push to the absolute limit. Not quite as fun in the race. There are a lot of difficult corners here at the Portimao circuit, but it's going to be hopefully a very interesting and exciting Grand Prix for the viewers tonight. But before we start watching hot laps, we can go through the standings. Is there anything you wanted to say, or could I?
As you mentioned before, I wasn't actually here for Hungary. I was away. And I just had a look what happened last week. This is the first time that we've not had Ryan B and Maverick win. Where Cam K win, which is the first time that's happened.
No. Giant break. Well, I guess since they aren't in the division anymore, I guess it doesn't count. So
yeah, we don't count that. Right, then we look at the standings. Officially, the only people in this season at the moment that have won a race is Maverick and Ryan, and then there's Cam K that have just won. Maverick 4 points, Ryan B second place. The championship's down to 2 points, and Cam K. We thought it was a 2-horse race. 1 win has just gone and put him within 30 points.
Yeah, it definitely, it was a really good result for Cam K last time out in Hungary. But yeah, we can run through the standings. American, Maverick 132 points. Ryan B on 132 points behind, as you mentioned. Cam K on 101 after his win last time out. So getting a little bit closer to that championship battle. He's on 101 points, so 29 behind Ryan B. Major Falcon is on 82. He's been quite consistent so far throughout the season. And then the second Alpine of MCR on 61 points. Mr. Wilder on 53 and 49. Storm, his teammate. All Maverick, a championship leader, is about to start a lap, but we can just quickly continue. We have Jordan on 44, McDutchface on 42, Energetics on 35, Holdy Poles on 33, as well as Connor, or Slum Khan, on 33, Slayer on 19, Ben Gallagher after his second race in the division, reserving. He picked up a podium last week in third. Iverburn Mike on 13, Alex on 12, Eduk on 11, Marty on 10, Dirt Tim on 7, United Bosnia on 6, and then Bag of Bones on 3 points for the Haas team. But yeah, Alt Maverick right now on a lap. I haven't been watching really, but what does it look like so far?
It's just been a bit of a careful lap. Turn 4, he went through it very slowly. I think he's just trying to not invalidate. Oh, we say that. Not trying to invalidate. Was that invalidated there?
No, it's clean so far.
Oh, it's validated. I'm surprised at that. Yeah, I think we'll see with a few people's first laps. Just trying to validate. It is very easy to invalidate here. Track limits are very, very tight. I've just noticed that looking at this, as we just come up to the end of the lap, we'll talk actually about the championship in a second. He's had a very careful lap. It wouldn't surprise me if this gets improved upon on his next run. But sometimes it is really important just to validate a run. I've been in a session myself where I've not validated and it just puts more pressure on every single run. And he comes down to the line. Hey! That's not a bad first lap, you know. I think we'll expect the times to get very close to the 16s, maybe even getting into the 16s. The track pace doesn't seem too different across the divisions, but for a first lap, a 17.6 is a very good lap to get.
Yeah, 17.6 is not bad at all. For CPI Noah J, he goes on a provisional pole position, just about a tenth faster than Alt Maverick. I'm not entirely sure. I believe this is CPI Noah J's debut. I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, but I don't think I've ever seen his name here in Division 4.
He, CPI Noah J, from what I think, he was a reserve.
He's a reserve, all right.
I think he's racing now. I think he was a reserve in a different division.
Oh, okay. Oh, it says he raced here in Austria and didn't finish. So yeah, okay, yeah. He's done one race, so his second race here. Let's see what he can prove to the rest of us. United Bosnia, though, his Haas teammate for the evening, goes on a provisional pole position, swiftly followed by Ryan B, a 17.1. That's actually quite a quick lap time, I must say, for Division 4. I thought it was going to be a little bit slower. I was going to peg provisional pole position around a 16.8, I was going to say, but it looks like we might get a little bit closer to those mid-16s as Ryan B goes on to a 17.1.
Yeah, from what I've noticed in practice, obviously, been practicing with the Relentless lads, and a lot of people, the gap isn't very, very big, apart from Nathan, who's about a second faster than ours, but for the most part, the pace gap isn't too big, about half a tenth, I'd say, between some of our D1 drivers and some of the D4 drivers in practice, so it's very, very close. I think we will see maybe a 16.7, possibly a 16.6 in this lobby from the top people. If that's their first lap as well, unless he's just pulled out a worldie of a banker, I think we could see some good stuff. And then that bodes well for the race as well, because the way the strategies work with the soft and mediums, there's not much pace gap between the two. If we can see some fast drivers decide to race on the mediums as well, we could get a very, very close race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens on strategy. Soft, medium, I believe the strategy here, pit around lap 10 if you're going to start on the softs. And I think I want to say 33 laps are coming up for the race tonight. One of the Williams just about to cross the line. I think that was TRT James just about to start a lap. I think his teammate is the only other driver on a lap right now. Slumpcon in the Williams just heading through the middle sector up towards turn 10 and turn 11. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers will do on strategy. There's a few drivers out on track right now. A few drivers out on track right now on the medium tires. Connor being the one that we were watching on board with right now, as well as Iverburn Mike, who's currently P8 on an 18.2, which isn't actually that bad on the mediums for Division 4. So, looking not too bad here tonight. I think Connor's just about to cross the line, though. Let's see what type of lap time he can do. Let's see if he can beat Iverburn Mike. Ooh.
I mean,
tenth and a half off.
But we'll say that he's got more in the tank, and we'll hope for the best. I'm looking at Kamke. I feel like a driver of his speed will be looking at this right now. I think he's probably checking to see what the soft times are. He strikes me as the kind of person that could go for a run and try to qualify on the mediums, because they're about half a second off the softs. They're not too different. I feel like if he looks at these times and thinks I can get inside the top 10 on the mediums, I think that pays off a lot more in the race, because the mediums, I think the softs are only faster for about a lap or two, then they overheat so much the mediums are actually a faster tyre. I think we could see drivers like Kamke, maybe even the ones down below, go for a medium run. I think we've seen Podipos do that a few times before.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who will go for the alternate strategy. Ooh, McNutchface invalidating quite obviously there at turn 7 and turn 8. In that newly painted Red Bull. Let's say we're only going to have it for, I don't even know how long we're going to have the new livery in the game for. Let's say a few weeks.
I don't think Codemasters know, to be honest with you, mate.
Yeah, very, very true. But yeah, in the new liveried in the new liveried Red Bull here for tonight. The other Red Bull driver, Slayer, currently in P7 in the pit lane right now on 18.153. I'm sure he'll be looking to improve very, very soon if he decides to leave the pit lane. That is one of the Alpines just about to cross the line. Major Falcon, that's Major Falcon starting, and then an AlphaTauri driver starting as well. So not too many people on a lap. I think MCR is one, but he's invalid. Major Falcon just started, as we mentioned. Marty's just about to cross the line. Let's see what he can do. He had to set a lap time, but about to cross the line. 17.4 for him and puts him onto the second row of the grid. Just about a tenth behind United Bosnia and 2/10 in front of CPI Noah J. So found himself in a nice little gap there.
Yeah, it's a good place to be, and it puts off the pressure for your last runs, because we can see the gap. It's quite big actually between at the top spot. It's 17.6 down to to 8th, about half a second there, so there's a lot of gaps for people to slot themselves in. I'm not sure whether people will be going for outside the top 10. I feel like this is a track where you might want to try. There is overtaking opportunities, but the DRS is so strong. I feel like you're just going to trade positions. I feel like you kind of want to be near the front.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this race. Obviously, well, most of us haven't raced on this track in a league racing environment quite yet, so it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers decide to do in terms of racecraft wise, and see where they try to make those moves. There's going to be quite a few ambitious drivers you'd tend to imagine, especially up in the higher divisions where you can abuse everything. But yeah, Mr. Wada just crossed the line, went up to P4. Major Falcon replaces them quite quickly, and will go up to P4 himself on a 17.4. So getting quite close to Marty there, just about 9 thousandths of a second, as Ryan B starts a lap as well and heading through turn 2.
Yeah, and Cam K's still not come out of the pits, and we're getting close to that window where he's not going to leave himself enough time for 2 runs. So he either has to come out in the next minute or so to set a lap, or he's going to put enough fuel in to go twice. And maybe if he's going to do that, maybe he is thinking of going on the mediums.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You can do 2 runs in a row, but it's kind of risky with ERS or it's kind of risky with ERS as well, because those medium tires, it's difficult to get the tires fired up and get the temperature in them just to do 1 lap. So after 2, it should be pretty decent. I have found myself improving quite readily on a second lap on the mediums as Alt Maverick goes up to the top of the leaderboards, 200ths in front of Ryan B, and Ryan B tries to respond but is actually invalid on his current flying lap, so is going to not be able to improve on this one. So Alt Maverick firing here in the second runs here tonight, and has currently put himself onto provisional pole position.
Yeah, and Maverick knows he has to fire back as well after last week's result. He's kind of given Ryan another entry back into the title race. He started to pull away a bit, and after a disappointing result, he's left it back down to 2 points again. So this really is, every point counts at this stage. Every position's going to count, and Cam K as well, speaking of him in the championship fight, this is a very important race for him, maybe more so than for Ryan and Maverick, because if he gets a win here or a good result here and Maverick and Ryan don't, he's put himself right in the title picture.
Yeah, just talking about that, United Bosnia goes up to the top of the leaderboard, and the first driver into the 1:16. I thought drivers are going to be improving quite a lot more, but Ryan B must have been just a fantastic banker run for him. That 17.1, unable to improve so far, but he does have one more run left in qualifying to try and improve on that time. Just a few drivers heading through the final sector right now. I believe it's both the Williams, I want to say. TRT James is invalid. Slumcon just about to start a lap. And then I think that's Ivory Mike, who's also invalid, as well as one of the Aston Martins, which is Wouter, who should be coming into the pits, I would imagine. Yeah, 100% ERS, 2 laps on those tires. He's going to be heading into the pit lane. But someone who's come of form recently, especially in the last 2 races, Mr. Wouter. After taking that, taking that second place in Austria, and then had a solid but quiet race in Hungary, he's found himself in the top 4 here in Portimao.
Yeah, Mr. Wouter, he's always had it in him. I think we've seen him near the front a few times. Maybe the reason he's not as high up in points is he hasn't started 3 races. So if you take away those, if you add those points, he's scored points in every race that he's done so far. His lowest points finish has been 4 points, and he's done that twice. So overall, he's been a consistent driver in the division, and if he can maybe get slightly better attendance and carry on his form, he's going to find himself finishing quite high up in the championship. Kamke's still in the pit. He must be really confident, you know. It's like a qualifying that we don't know about.
I mean, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I could maybe have a quick look at the stewardship.
I'll go have a check. I'll let you do your commentary.
Oh, there's nothing said about KMK for Hungary, so I'm not entirely sure why he's still in the pit lane.
Unless he's very just confident.
Unless he's just like AFK for whatever reason or had to go do something, but like I'm not entirely sure why he's still in the pit lane. I would have probably done like 4 laps by now, but you know. Anyways, Slumpcon just crossed the line, but he did invalidate on his lap around turn 7 exit, I believe. So he's going to be going on to another one, just heading through turn 1. Decent apex.
Speaking of Mr. Wouter, I had no idea. Look how close that time is.
Yeah.
Second and the third and fourth at the exact same time. This fight, well, for second or pole, you could say, that's not too far off. The sector times are extremely close there.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what these drivers could do. Obviously, United Bosnia just about, or well, is heading to the pit lane to start his, well, to get onto his final set of soft tires. You'd imagine he's on pole, 16.940, 2 tenths in front of Alt Maverick, who you'd imagine, as well as him, Ryan B, both have the time in them to challenge for that provisional pole position, but United Bosnia might have more as well in himself. Mr. Wilder, P4, obviously same time as Ryan B, as you pointed out, and seemingly pretty decent so far. He might have a little bit more, but it's all... We'll see when we get there. It's going to be, we'll see what happens when we get to the end of qualifying. I believe sometime just crossed the line, or is about to cross the line, actually, in the Williams, and is heading into the pit lane. I think he was up by a little bit, but obviously didn't want to continue on that lap. A few drivers out on track now. CPI, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, he got a purple first sector, I think he just said then.
Yeah, Noah J on a lap right now, just heading through this beautiful middle sector. The elevation change is absolutely immaculate. I just love driving at this circuit, really, just to look at. Purple middle sector for Noah J is up by 5.5 tenths of a second, so this would put him on a low 17.1. Yeah, this is currently good enough to make it a Haas 1-2, a Haas front row. Up at the top of the up at the top of the timing sheet. There is an Alfa Romeo in front of him, which I'm not entirely sure who it is. It might be, well, it's going to be Energetic, so I think it's just heading into the pit lane. Noah Jake about to cross the line.
Ooh.
Goes onto the front row, 117.123. It couldn't get much closer, but we added another driver into the fray now.
Yeah, now he has to hope, because he doesn't have time for another run. So we could see him drop like a stone here. You can see 3-4 drivers around him with very similar times. He's got to hope they either invalidate or don't improve. Noah J could finish it. It would start anywhere from 2nd to 6th or 7th at the moment now, as Cam K's still in the pits.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Cam K's leaving now, so...
Oh, right.
But it's on a set of softs.
If this isn't like a flyer of a lap, then I don't... If he invalidates this...
Yeah, that's going to be pretty anticlimactic, I would imagine.
But he looks so good if he just gets like a 16.5.
Very true, very true. Storm just crossing the line and makes an Aston Martin third row on the grid at 4 right now. He does have another, well, I'm not entirely sure how much time is left in the session. Minute 40. He could back off and go again if he really wanted to, but I don't think that's the smartest idea. That might just be the end of his session there. And Alpine just coming to the line. That's MCR starting a lap on the medium. 2 drivers out on track on mediums at Dirtim and MCR. Just by the way, one of the Mercedes, that was Jordan just starting a lap. A lot of drivers are about to be starting their laps. I think Dirtim is on a lap right now, so it's going to be Alex to cross the line. Improves by 7.5 tenths to put himself into P10, so challenging for that top 10 position. I'm not entirely sure if that's really where you want to be. One of the McLarens, that's going to be Iverburn Mike, just about to start a lap. Yep, start a lap. Aston Martin following him. That's Mr. Wilder.
Got a pile up in Sector 3 now. Everyone's waiting to get the running in. You'll notice from a lot of people as well, you might be seeing at the bottom, you do run out of ERS as you come out of the last corner. And the difference maker can be, probably in a division like this, say someone like Cam K, maybe he knows to turn off the ERS. If you have a look for him turning it off during a lap maybe, you can gain a lot of time going down the straight by managing your ERS. I know it sounds stupid, but in your quality lap.
Ooh, Iverburn Mike having a little bit of a spin there out of turn 5. It did say he had a purple first sector and then proceedingly spun off at the next corner. Did the Welsh driver. He has to be careful not to get disqualified, though, because he is going backwards on track. Storm UK will retire from the session. That is going to be his session over. Dirtim is invalid. I don't know if he's going to be able... He's going to be able to set another lap time. MCR just behind him on the medium. 17.70. He puts himself into P12. One of the Mercedes. I think that's Jordan, who just crosses the line and goes into P3. That's a really good lap there from Jordan. One of the Haas's United Bosnia. He's going to be going again, unable to improve on his lap time just there. I think next driver is going to be Alpha Tower. That's going to be Alex, but he should be heading into the pit lane. No, he's going to be completing it even though his ERS isn't on, which is interesting to say the least. Aston Martin, that's Mr. Wilder. He crosses the line, goes P4 after improving by only 200ths of a second.
Oh!
Ryan B goes up to the top of 116.892 for the Mercedes driver. Let's see who else could challenge him for that provisional
around. It's not been as good as I'd hoped.
Yeah, let's see what Cam K can do around the final corner. I think there's a Ferrari in front of him that should be Alt Maverick, I would imagine. Or it's going to be Marty, either or. Let's
What
see
is he?
what happens. Marty goes up to third. Cam K backs off. Let's see
What?
Alt Maverick. He's going to be the driver behind him. But he's invalid. It was a
Um,
16-9.
Why wouldn't you finish the lap?
I don't know.
Did he have a quali ban?
I have no idea.
Why wouldn't you finish the lap there? Like, it wouldn't have got him. He wouldn't have got like top 5 or anything, but he'd still been higher up than at the back.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's
I
so confusing.
don't know. Well, Ryan B, second place in the championship, first place on the grid here for tonight. United Bosnia will take, I believe this is actually his second front row start of the season. I'm not entirely sure, but he's definitely going to be starting on the front row for the race coming up in just a few minutes. Marty taking a surprisingly decent qualifying position in P3 to start off that second row. CPI Noah J in his second race in the division will take the second row. Ariel Jordan with a very good qualifying for himself here in Division 4 P5 for the Mercedes driver. Then it's Mr. Wouter sharing that third row. Alt Maverick P7, a little bit of work to do, but we saw it in Austria. He can make his way up to the front of the field and challenge for decent results. Then Storm will be on the fourth row with him. Connor Major Falcon will fill out that fifth row, and then it's going to be pulley poles on poor man's pole position here for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Then it's going to be Alex, Slayer, MCR, TRT James, McDutchface, Iverbrand, Mike, Dirt Tim, Cam K, and Energetics to round off the grid. Cam K, Energetics not setting lap times. So, yeah, not really too much to say besides Cam K not setting a lap and Ryan be able to put the lap in at the end.
Yeah, the only way that makes sense is if he doesn't, if he has a quali ban. But it does. I can't see anything about it. I don't know why he won't finish a lap. I guess a talking point would also be Maverick, championship leader, starting so low down with a .1. Like he's up like 2.5 tenths off pole position, and he's in 7th place. It just shows how close the grid is on this track, and it's going to make for a really good race, I'd hope.
Yeah, top 13, 6.5 tenths separated them. MCR just about 2 tenths back from that in P14, but still pretty close grid here for Division 4. Surprisingly close, really.
Yeah, we have seen just like a 2-horse race. Most races has not always been the same people, but it has always just been that little front group as. It's a little bit overcast.
It's raining.
Is that rain in the windows?
I thought I saw a little bit. It might be like just sprinkle. There are the wet tires out in the Mercedes garage.
Yeah, look in the window in the top right. There's rain in the window.
Yeah, I thought I saw a little bit. So could be possibly having dry tire start here, but maybe transitioning to inters a little bit later on. I'm not entirely sure what's going to be going on.
Well, I've just seen tyres literally switch from wet to medium on my screen.
Oh yeah, I just saw that as well. So I think that must be Jordan changing his strategy then, because you can also see a medium tire in the Red Bull garage as well. So interesting here, interesting scenes here from Portimao.
It's weird that there's rain on the window but not on the track.
Yeah, it does look like we are going to be having a dry start though. At least for now. So possibly replicating the 2021 Portuguese Grand Prix, just maybe.
Well, I've had experience of racing this track in the rain, and Sector 2 is terrifying.
Oh, I could imagine.
You are just all over the place. I mean, I was unexpectedly on manual gears at the time as well, but it still points out like there were a lot of people just falling all over the track. So, and that did also start off dry. So I could hope, for my own selfish wanting to see this race turn to chaos, I'd like to see it start raining, and it looks like there's a possibility that it will do.
It definitely has the possibility to rain. I mean, we did see that crazy start in 2020. I'm not sure if you remember, but where Carlos Sainz, I think he went from like 5th to 1st at one point on the first lap, just because he started on the softs compared to the mediums. So.
Yeah, I think here we don't see. I think the mediums are so close to the softs. It's going to be. I don't think we'll see the soft advantage as much. I think we'll see the mediums just kind of stick with them. What normally happens is with the rain, though, we will have a driver message in the chat or something like, "Oh, it's going to rain at this point." We've had nothing.
Well, Jordan has said full dry race, so maybe I guess it will clear up towards the end of the race. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Well, if it was going to rain right away, we'd see practically everybody on softs, you'd imagine. But what, almost everybody besides McDutchface, who's on hards, and then Iverburn, Mike, and Energetics, who are P17 and P20 on the softs. Everybody else besides that is on the mediums, obviously, besides the top 10 who are forced to start on the soft tires. An interesting choice to start on the hards from McDutchface, just trying to go a little bit longer than everybody else, but...
No.
Yeah.
The hards, oh, I hate to break it to him, vile on this track.
I haven't touched the hards, and I already know that they're absolutely terrible. They're
a second a lap slower than the mediums.
Yeah, they're just terrible. Yeah,
if McDutchface gets anything from this, fair play. But I don't know what in the right mind has made him think of that strategy, but we'll see.
There's always someone every week who goes on the hards at the beginning of the race, and it genuinely confuses me. But anyways, heading into the race, now Energetics has slotted into his grid slot, and we can get this started off. Round 10 of Division 4, the Portuguese Grand Prix. We have 5 lights. Lights out and away we go. A jump start for Alex from P number 12. That's not exactly what you would want to start this Grand Prix, but now heading up towards the front of the field. I think Ryan B is going to be clear into turn 1. We already have someone off. That's Storm, who's off into the wall and has damage. He's going to be out of the Grand Prix now. United Bosnia following Ryan B, trying. He's keeping second place for the time being, but Marty is following him through in third place. Then CPI Noah J in fourth, Jordan in sixth. Alt Maverick has already made up a position. He's up into sixth. Mr. Wilder seventh. Connor in eighth. Major Falcon in ninth. Poldypulls making up a position with Storm crashing out. One of the McLarens making a little bit of a dime. That's Iverburn Mike trying to make up positions from 17th on the grid with those soft compound tires. He's up to 13th, so has had a pretty decent start here. He has James McDutchface and Poldypulls on the mediums, the hards, and the mediums respectively until he gets up to the rest of the soft runners. But it's Ryan B who leads out from front, and United Bosnia already seemingly struggling a little bit, but Marty is right on his gearbox trying to follow him through.
Yeah, another person had a really good start. Major Falcon started 10th, up into 8th place, but he did pick up 2 warnings doing it, so he's already on a tightrope for the rest of the race. That's like getting a yellow card in the first minute, as Rocco would say. It's too early for a yellow. But good start. Maverick, I saw him as well outside of turn 1. He just went around the outside. It weren't too difficult of a move, but he made it stick, and obviously very important to go for moves early on if you can do. Ryan B, he had to keep that first place, which he has done. How important now to break the DRS. If you can break DRS before it starts, you're in for such a good race because the DRS here is so strong.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Iverburn Mike already trying to make a move into turn 1. I think he's gotten that one done on TRT James into the first corner. TRT James almost going into the back of the McLaren driver, but also Iverburn Mike trying to make moves on McDutchface on those hard tires. He goes around or up the inside of turn 3 and around the outside of turn 4. Ooh, a little bit of contact between McDutchface and James. But yeah, you can see how bad those hard tires are. McDutchface already lost 2 positions on this lap. Tries to dive up the inside of James as MCR was looking around the outside, but he's going to be able to keep P13 for the time being. But now Ivor is out of DRS range from Poldypulls, but I'm sure he'll be able to pull that back very, very soon. He should be on fresh softs, I would think, unless he did 3 runs in qualifying. But yeah, he's going to have a pretty decent pace advantage as of right now, considering the track conditions. It looks pretty cold out there, track temperature-wise, just overcast. It's going to be a lot easier to get temperature into his softs than it will be for Poldypulls to get temperature in those mediums. But Poldypulls is holding on for the time being, and Iverburn Mike unable to close down the Alfa Romeo as of right now.
Yeah, and you think that's hard to get temperature. How do you think my Dutch face feels right now? I will say, the hards do look really nice on the white Red Bull. They do match.
Yeah, they do.
But that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, just heading through the final corner there. McDutchface going all the way off the track, and I think that just shows how bad those hard tires are. He didn't lose any positions, but he lost a little bit of time to the drivers in front and behind him. Cam K on the move, making his way down the inside of MCR, going into the first corner. Pretty easy move, pretty uniform move there for Cam K. He's going to be up into P14. He now has McDutchface in front of him. Goes wide at turn 3, off the track on the exit through turn 4. Compromise run. Now Cam K should have a pretty decent run. Gets a little bit of a slide though off of turn 4. He's going to look to the inside of turn 5. He breaks late, but not quite late enough, and McDutchface is able to hold the position for now.
Yeah, a very chaotic start to the race. Normally we just see people driving in a line. You kind of settle in quite quick. I think what we're going to see here, Is that Dutchface going from even the hard into turn 8? Oh, he has, and he's lost it. Deary me. And now we're going to see... Oh, don't go for it, MCR. Surely not. Actually, no, dude. Carnage. Oh. They're still side by side.
Oh, my goodness.
Dutchface just gone straight into him. He just can't get the brakes on. Camk's just been wiped. I don't know if he's got any damage from that, but Dutchface, he's letting him go through. He knows that was his fault. He's struggling on those hards, and someone's around. Slumpcon's around.
Ooh. Yeah, Slumpcon has had a little bit of a spin.
Yeah, it's very easy to lose it at the top of the hill there, putting your power down too much. I'm pretty sure we'll have Storm in the chat now thinking that's karma for whatever happened between them two, as the Tim's also out. So we've seen a few casualties at the start of this track, and this is what happens. It's kind of like Brazil. There's many, many overtaking opportunities, and people just send it. They just go for it, and you'll just see a bit more patience in the higher divisions. I mean, I say that actually. We've seen the stewards report. Probably not.
In other news, Iverburn Mike has made his way past Poldy Poles, who was 3 seconds behind the previous soft runner. So now Iverburn Mike trying to close down that gap. Talking about that McDutchface Camk incident up at the top of the hill where Slumpcon spun. I don't think he tried to let him through. I just saw a massive lockup line going on the exit of the corner coming from that Red Bull. So I don't think it was on purpose. I think those hard tires are just terrible. So yeah, McDutchface obviously struggling, trying to keep those tires in check as of right now. And KMK already onto the back of MCR once again, heading into turn 11 and down the hill towards turn 12. But let's look back up towards the front of the field. The top eight, all on the soft tires. All those drivers, they started on those tires. Ryan B currently leads the race, followed by United Bosnia, Marty, CPI, Noah J, and then Ariel Jordan, who's struggling just a little bit. He's not going to have DRS going down towards turn 1, so All Maverick could possibly have an opportunity to pounce on the Mercedes driver and make his way up the field and try and close down that gap to Noah J, who's also seemingly struggling just a little bit. Oh, All Maverick all over the road there on the exit of turn 1, trying to get it in a straight line, just barely able to do that. Mr. Wouter following, as well as Major Falcon, and Iverburn Mike was able to close down a little bit of time, but still has a long way to go if he wants to get within DRS range. Alt Maverick not close enough to make a move on Jordan as of right and now, but Jordan is falling further and further from the top 4.
Yeah, Noah J is really starting to use as well to be able to stay in the DRS, and you don't earn it back that quickly here, so you need to be careful and need to remember who he's racing. ERS, and Jordan's all over the place as well. But these people now, the top 3 look like they're very close. I've seen a few times they've just got out of DRS range and Noah's used to get back in. But I have a feeling we could see these front 3 drive off, and it'd be good to see Marty get the full race, because Marty has obviously, he's had the pace every week. He's just struggled and DNF'd and had issues. So if he can start to put some together, Ferrari can get some points together as well. It could be a good finish to the season for Marty. Hopefully it can start here.
Yeah, you would tend to think that Ferrari would really be in that constructors battle. 142 points. They're in 3rd place currently, only 1 point behind Alpine. So an important day for Ferrari, considering they're 3rd and 6th as of right now. MCR is P12.
Maverick's going to go for the move on the outside at turn 1. Ooh. Oh, he's just completely cut across Jordan.
I didn't quite get the best angle there, as TRT James has retired on the exit of turn 11. That's an interesting place. But yeah, it's so difficult to get a move done in turn 1, especially around the outside, because it's a very tight corner. It's a one-line corner, really. As Marty and United Bosnia are going side by side as well. Marty sending one up the inside of turn 5, but United Bosnia able to keep the position for the time being. But Alt Maverick, he's broken DRS to Major Falcon in a way, and now has to close to Noah J, who's slightly brought himself back into this battle. But going back towards turn 1, it really is a one-line corner. So either whoever's behind has to back out, or whoever's ahead just has to be bold and go for it, and that's what happened. Alt Maverick went around the outside, was bold, went for it, and then it ended up in an incident there.
Yeah, we can't obviously give our opinions on that one. We don't know who's going to be at fault, but it's an incident that's happened. We have to treat the race as if everyone's where they're going to finish, and then we'll just let the stewards decide what happens after that. It is unfortunate for Jordan, because this has probably been one of his best starts to the races in the season. He does tend to claw his way up from a poor qualifying, and this time he qualified well and he's found himself at the back, but we've seen him claw his way up into positions before, so he could probably do it again, and now it's just down to Maverick to get that incident out of his head and try to catch back up to this front 4.
Yeah, just looking forward to Division 2 in a little while. It's going to be difficult to get moves done into Turn 1 because especially, well, not so much in Division 4, but the DRS trains are absolutely massive in D2. Marty looking for a move on United Bosnia, unable to do so. It's going to be almost impossible as we have a spinner that's pulley pulls at Turn 4. Alfa Romeo, I think I saw missing left M plate, I want to say, on the Alfa Romeo. I can't really tell. Just watching him drive past. He still has his end plate for now, but is now out of the points. He was around P10, P9, but is now down to P13.
Yeah, I think what you were saying about turn 1, the issue is because it's such a one-side corner, if you're going to go for a DRS take on the outside, you have to be wary of the fact that the inside driver has to take that line. So you kind of have to go wide knowing that they're going to be coming across, because you're coming into the corner at completely different angles. It's kind of like the so-called the incident with Hamilton and Verstappen at Cops. They're coming at the corner with such different angles. You kind of have to be wary, and it's one of those where you could make an argument for both sides. He shouldn't be going for it on the outside there, but at the same time you can also say the inside driver should back out. And we saw how divisive that was as well, that incident with them two, so...
Yeah, definitely can create quite the rift on a certain social media platform. But anyways, we will move forward, Marty.
In the LOE Discord.
We will move forward. Marty just making the move on United Bosnia into turn 1. A pretty decent move just up the inside, and was able to get that done before the corner, before the straight ended, and was able to get that position, and now has a task of trying to chase down Ryan B. But we've seen Marty in this position before. Early in races, getting in good positions, has a little bit of a slide out of turn A. I'm sure that would have increased the heart rate just a little bit. But yeah, Marty's been in pretty decent positions throughout most of the season. Just unfortunate incidents or mistakes by himself have caused him to not finish many races. Just looking at the standings right now, Marty P18 on 10 points. 3 points in Singapore, 2 points in Russia, 5 points in Austria, which is his best finish, and then finishing the race but not scoring any points last time out in Hungary. So this is a real opportunity for him to score some good points. Alex has had a spin at turn 4 on the inside. I'm not entirely sure how he got there. That's an interesting place. A Slayer retires in the pit lane. And United Bosnia is going to be the first driver to pull into the pit lane on these soft tires.
It's very early, you know. Like, from what I've heard, lap 10 is like just about good enough for the mediums. And that's like the mediums are dead by the time they get to the end. So, unless he's sticking the hards on, which I would not advise, no, he's gone for the mediums. This is a bold movement. Maybe his tyre wear is just really, really good, but those mediums are going to be crying at the end of the race.
Yeah, but they are going to be pretty fantastic. Oh. Ooh, that's sketchy. And then you can also, yeah, now we have our first example as well of people exiting the pit lane. The pit lane exit here is so dumb. It's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You're exiting onto the racing line on a one-line corner. So when people are going to be coming out in trains, it's going to be, well, it's going to be a recipe for a very, very major disaster.
Yeah, I don't know why there's not like a cut, maybe a cut across the first corner. I actually thought what would make really good sense is for them to maybe join at turn 4. You know, just going across, because there is like a track line where, like, obviously where pedestrian cars can go, like, if they need to and stuff. It's just, yeah, it does seem weird. You're kind of throwing them onto a really high speed opening corner there. You kind of have to be very wary and make a decision based off of whether you deserve that spot or not.
Well, yeah, you're coming from what is the fastest point on the circuit into a fifth, sixth gear corner. Well, sixth gear in quali, fifth gear in the race. All Maverick makes a move on CPI Noah J up the inside of turn 1. The Haas driver trying to keep it around the outside of turn 3. All Maverick's going to have the position going on the outside of turn 4. Ooh, a little bit of contact between those two drivers.
I'm probably going to see an opportunity. Send it!
Wilder late on the brakes. Is he late enough? Yeah, he's definitely late enough. Noah J trying to keep it around the outside. Mr. Wilder's going to get the traction, though, and he's going to have that position. So Noah J fighting a little bit, well, in my opinion, a little bit too hard with All Maverick. Had a little bit of understeer off the exit of 4 or made a correction. Went into the side of the Ferrari, and that caused him to lose the position to Mr. Wilder as well. But now Alt Maverick 2.2 seconds behind his teammate. But Marty's gotten himself back within DRS range. Ryan B was 60, about 70% ERS, and Marty with 85 uses a little bit of ERS there through turn 12 just to get himself a little bit more comfortably closer towards the DRS detection point.
This is interesting now. Will Marty give Maverick the pit window? Because this is the window to pit from what I've seen.
Yep.
Does Marty go for himself here, or is the team orders for the championship? Does he let Maverick pit?
I don't know, but Ryan B isn't coming into the pit lane. Marty isn't coming into the pit lane, and neither is Alt Maverick, and they're going on to lap number 11 here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Marty on for his best result of the season at the moment. They are teammates. Maverick is in a fight with Ryan. You could argue. Oh, he's picked up a penalty though. You could argue that he needs this second place more. But Marty does seem to have the pace. Maverick isn't catching, as per se. So it will be interesting to see now. I don't know if they're in a party or not, but whether Marty kind of stands his ground and decides, no, I want to go for the win here, or whether Maverick gets the pit opportunity.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I would say with this 3-second penalty, do the opposite of what Marty and Ryan B do, because I think if Ryan B comes in, I would say Marty pit, Maverick stay out there. If I was the engineer of the two Ferrari boys, if they are even in a party together, I'd say if Ryan B pits, Marty you go in, Maverick you stay out. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be difficult to call, especially now with that 3-second time penalty being mixed in. I would say give Marty a little bit more priority because, well, you would typically want to give Maverick fresher tires towards the end, but that means he's going to be losing positions on track if he stays out longer. So it's going to be a difficult decision for whoever is engineering them, or just for themselves. Ryan B into the pit lane. Marty stays. Yeah, Marty's staying out. Is Alt Maverick going to be in? Alt Maverick should pit Maverick. Here, and he's not.
One of them should have pit there. Marty should have pit really. The undercut is quite big here. It's not massive, but it is quite big. He needs to. It's so important to stay in DRS. I'm really surprised that none of them are pitted, because now you'd assume Marty's going to be the one to pit. He has to react. So that means Maverick can't come in for the next lap as well. That's a confusing decision. I feel like they've really missed out with one of them not pitting there.
Yeah, Ryan B coming out into a decent gap. He's not going to be just behind someone or coming out side by side with anybody. He's about a second and a half behind Connor, who is in front of him. But yeah, Ryan B back into the points positions already. United Bosnia, who's done 2 laps on these tires. And remember, I think he was, well, just around a second behind. When Marty passed him or he came into the pit lane. 1.7 seconds is that gap, so a little bit further behind. But those medium tires aren't too great on the out lap, and they do eventually warm up. So United Bosnia is going to have the temperature in his tires. Ryan B is going to be struggling just a little bit, but you can already see how much he's catching slump count. A little bit of a slide there through turn 8, but United Bosnia catches a little bit, but not enough, because he's not, even close really to DRS range. But now up at the front of the race, Marty stays out. Oh wait, no, Marty's in. I was watching Maverick.
Marty was up on his time there as well, and it's very easy for a driver to sometimes see that their delta's faster, see like their times are faster, and stay out, not really recognising that they could go even faster on the mediums. Let's see how big this undercut was now. Just one lap. You said Ryan had a few slides, so it wasn't the perfect out lap. Let's see how big it is now.
Let's see, United Bosnia fastest lap of the race behind Ryan B, and Marty has jumped him.
That must have been a really bad out lap.
Or Marty had a fantastic in lap.
But Marty was nearly 3 temps up on his time. Maybe did he go full send? What's his ERS like?
100%.
He's at 100. What?
Well, that's because he just came out of the pit lane though, so you do save like 50%. You do save like 50% of the pit lane, and he was around 80, 90 when Ryan B came in, so.
Let's have a look at the sector times there. Hold on a moment.
I think Ryan B has been absolutely bamboozled here. Oh, never mind. Ryan B almost had a spin. Almost.
Marty was nearly 3 temps up in his time.
What was Ryan B's final 2 sectors then compared to Marty? Marty's middle sector.
So Marty was on for a 19.6, and Ryan B got.
Well, compare their middle sectors. As All Maverick is also in, by the way. Pitting onto the mediums.
31.0. 31.0, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
25.6. 25.6. So they had the same. It's all in the first sector. Ryan B must have struggled to get the temperature in the tires then.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting way that played out. Did not expect that to be, and it's a pretty big gap as well. Like Marty broke DRS in the process.
That must have been a first sector and a half.
From Marty, yeah.
I mean, I guess, like you said, so because of the way the pit exit is, you have to take turn one so. You're not quite sure when you can put the power down. Obviously, you're not practicing that line, so you don't really know when you can throw it down. Maybe we didn't see when Ryan came out the pits. Did he have to slow down for? Who was it? Who was he behind at the time? Was it
No, sometime was
it?
a second and a half, 2 seconds in front.
Marty's coming up to right. He kind of needs to get past him now.
Yeah,
Or is it a go?
McDutchface is on those hards. No, McDutchface is defending this a little bit. I don't know why.
Oh,
Well, I guess he's kind of just driving. Now Ryan B is closed up, well, close to a second almost on the Ferrari driver. So
he's
Marty's
trying to
gonna
help out Noah J maybe, but it's not going to help him. He's in the pit, so.
I don't know. I don't know why it'd help out Noah J though. Oh my, okay, Jordan. Jordan had a spin and got a 10-second time penalty in the process. I'm sure that will get removed eventually. But yeah, Marty passed McDutchface here in turn one. McDutchface keeping it close. He's
Jeez.
not good. He's keeping it really close, I must say.
Yeah.
Yeah, McDutchface has been picking a lot of interesting fights here tonight.
On the hard tyres.
On the hard tires as well.
Will he keep the same level of defence with Ryan?
I don't know.
If he does, he could become Marty's best friend in this race.
He could. Because as of right now, he does have DRS. Or he will have DRS going down towards the pit straight unless Marty pulls out a ridiculous gap.
I mean, if Marty can just break DRS in this little space...
Ooh,
oh, no.
And there goes McDutchface off the track, and Ryan B is through now. So now that puts Marty, well, net race lead. Ryan B net second place. United Bosnia will be net third, and then Alt Maverick will be net fourth. But obviously, with that 3-second time penalty, it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out at the end of this race. Just heading on to lap. With Cam K onto lap number 16 out of 33 here tonight. Cam K made his way past Iverbird Mike during all the pit stop shenanigans, if you will. Pulley pulls in after he didn't start on those mediums, did he? No, he didn't. Marty trying to break slipstream from Ryan B.
He's looking really fast.
Yeah, McDutchface not even bothering with breaking slipstream. He knows he's on those hard tires, and they're really not that great. But yeah, Marty trying to break away from Ryan B. He seems to be really actually comfortable on his medium tires, and this may be the track. This might be the track that Marty needed to possibly kickstart his season and, well, the second car for Ferrari.
Yeah, like, if you look at Marty's ERS as well, he's not really using it. He's just comfortable at the moment. Obviously, that situation with McDutchface, I think he had the DRS gap there, which would have been great for him. I think maybe one thing Ryan wants to remember, because obviously Marty is Maverick's teammate, and Ryan should probably be aware of that. Although you want to go for the win, with the current situation Maverick's in, 3-second time penalty, sat in 6th. Obviously he's not currently in 6th overall. A second place for Ryan will not be the worst thing. It would put him top of the championship. Just to be wary before you go for a move on Marty, who is your championship contender's teammate.
Yeah, Marty, I would say playing the role of a teammate pretty nicely here, considering he's about to break DRS from Ryan B. Doesn't on this lap, but is threatening it, and Ryan B having to use his ERS just to stay within the DRS gap. And Marty going down to 65%, going down towards turn one, but Ryan B has a, 20% disadvantage from the Ferrari driver. Heading through turn three, McDutchface picks up a 3-second time penalty on those hard tires. Not really surprised about this one, that one. Ryan B, I think, was within.
Oh, he dropped.
He was within going through the DRS detection point. So Ryan B will stay alive just for a little bit longer, but Marty really has the pace here over Ryan B. And he has 80% ERS compared to 50.
Yeah, if he just burns, like, that way mine now, I just burn my ERS, like, just for this half a lap or so, break DRS and you're golden.
Yeah.
Because every time he uses, Ryan has to use. And Ryan's using a lot more.
Yeah, Ryan is struggling just to stay with the Ferrari driver, and look at that, through the middle sector here, Marty has broken DRS range, gap 1.2 seconds between the Ferrari and the Mercedes driver. So yeah, Marty doing well here tonight. All he has to do now is just keep up the pace and keep it on track as well, and then pick up possibly his maiden victory this season.
Yeah, and not just his maiden victory, just a bit of context for anyone watching. Marty's currently 18th on the championship, sat on 10 points. And he's probably one of the fastest in the division. He's just not been able to put it together in a race. This wouldn't just be his best his first win or anything. This would be by far his best performance. His best individual performance is 5 points in a race. And now he's fighting for the win and looking very comfortable while doing so. He's dropped 7 tenths to Ryan in the last sector and a half.
Yeah, absolutely insane pace for Marty. Looking very, very good for this race victory. Okay, we need to stop talking about him because now in the next 5 laps he's going to crash. So I already know what commentator's curse is definitely coming Marty's way.
We will never mention Marty again this race until right at the end.
Yep. So yeah. Marty leads. Ryan B second. United Bosnia third.
It's a good job that we pushed away because this battle at the moment for third, although some people have to pit, it's looking a bit spicy now.
Yeah, McDutchface still yet to pit. He started on those hard compound tires. United Bosnia was able to get past the Red Bull driver heading down towards turn 1 on the previous lap. But McDutchface able to keep pretty decent pace with United Bosnia. As I said that, he has a massive lockup into turn into 12 into turn 13. Maverick trying to go around the outside of the Red Bull driver heading through turn 14. McDutchface is fighting this on the hard tires. Maverick getting, I'm sure, very, very frustrated with the Red Bull driver. But now since McDutchface shouldn't have DRS, no, he doesn't have DRS, so Alt Maverick is just going to fly past the Red Bull driver. Mr. Water is going to follow him through as well.
Is Bosnia in?
Yeah, Bosnia's Bosnia's third. I mean, he did pit on like lap 8, if we remember, but
yeah,
still.
Maverick's going to be very, very lucky actually then to have not fallen out of DRS because McDutchface kind of and he lost the Wouter as well. I think McDutchface might be regretting this decision right now.
Yeah, he still has a pit, and he's already down to 6 with a 3-second time penalty to his name as well. So not exactly ideal ideal evening for the Dutch driver. I believe he's Dutch. I'm not entirely sure, but it's in his gamer tag, so I would tend to imagine he is. Yeah, not exactly ideal for McDutchface.
A big thing of this race.
Well,
we've got Maverick now in 4th. Ryan. So the top 3 at the moment is looking. Unassigned driver seems to be doing very well in 1st. We've got Ryan B looking comfortable in 2nd. It's kind of dying down a bit now. Maverick has to, if he wants a podium, get past Bosnia, then find the 3 seconds, which I don't think he'll find, especially with the way his ERS works. He's going to go for it. I mean, he has to go for it.
Yeah, but he's draining all of his ERS when he could have made that pass with what, like 10% less ERS usage, I'd imagine.
He probably could have just got it with his DRS, to be fair. It's that strong.
Yeah. And if he was able to follow through turns 1 through 4, he could have just gotten him down to the hairpin here, had a little bit more time to pull away. But Bosnia's going to be able to get close down towards close-ish down towards turn 5. Breaks really late, though, into the hairpin. We'll get a better run, you'd imagine, on the exit of the corner, but Alt Maverick able to out-drag him going through turn 7 just now. So yeah, Alt Maverick has to break DRS either here or in the next 2 to 3 laps if he wants to try and get up to the top 3 and pull that gap from United Bosnia. So it's going to be interesting to see what Alt Maverick is able to do here heading into the last 13 and a half laps?
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to have been his day at the moment. He's not usually that bad in qualifying as well, 7th place. It's hard to say bad because he was only a 10th and a half behind, but it's just how close it were. He's got that 3-second penalty. He's found himself outside of the podium as it stands, and also we don't know what's going to happen with that incident with Jordan. I think this seems to have been a race that Maverick won't want to remember too fondly as he gets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a scrappy evening for the American. Major Falcon making his way past McDutchface, as all the drivers in front of him have as well. So Major Falcon up into P6. He does have a time penalty. Let's see what that is for. 3 seconds for Alt Maverick, for Major Falcon, McDutchface, Noah J all have 3 seconds. Ariel Jordan with that 10-second time penalty from his spin, and then Pulls and Slumpcon both with 3 seconds as well. So I don't want to say it's difficult to pick up penalties here, but it's common enough, you tend to think. Mr. Water putting pressure on United Bosnia. It's actually United Bosnia has dropped from DRS, and Mr. Water is trying to get a move on.
Yeah, Bosnia just had a big slip coming out of that hair. We saw him struggle. Oh, okay. Bosnia just kind of gave it him there.
Yeah, he didn't put up much of a fight, did the Haas driver, knowing that Mr. Water is possibly faster, and considering he was following him through turn 8 just a tenth behind, you'd kind of be intimidated. At least I would be intimidated if he was only a tenth behind heading through turn 8. That's kind of ballsy, not gonna lie. But yeah, Mr. Water up into P4 and now gonna try and show his pace. He has a little bit more ERS than United Bosnia did, but just around the same amount since he's using through the penultimate and the final corner here, trying to get close to Alt Maverick. Closing that gap down as Alt Maverick uses his ERS down the pit straight, trying to close it to Ryan B. 1.6 seconds is that gap now. Is the gap between the two championship protagonists out on track, but obviously with that 3-second time penalty, it's going to change a little bit.
Yeah, that was a golden ticket for Maverick, that actually. Bosnia made the mistake. That's 2 laps in a row he struggled on that hairpin. Wouter going past him as well. He needs a 3-second gap to keep third place, and it'll be hoping Bosnia puts the pressure on Wouter, and them two kind of end up having to fight for themselves. Maverick has to then break, another 1.5 seconds to keep his podium? Which is doable. He has the pace for it. He's shown that. This really goes down to mentality now. As when he catches Ryan, if he catches Ryan, will he prioritise trying to get past him as well? I don't know why he would, because I don't think he's going to break 3 seconds for him. I feel like Maverick's best chance right now is to swallow his pride, follow Ryan B, and go for the podium.
Well, if he's obviously faster than Ryan B, obviously you would want to make that move. So I don't know.
By the time he gets past him, if he gets past him at all, there'll be 7-8 laps left maybe.
Well, he's not even really catching right now, so yeah.
I think his priority should be to find another 1.5 seconds on Wouter and get a podium, because the gap between second and third on points isn't huge.
It's 3 points. He'll lose the championship lead by 1 point if he's able to get that gap to fourth. So he'll still be
if he goes for it against Ryan and things go wrong, you could lose. There's a lot more to lose than to gain overtaking Ryan.
Yes, I would tend to agree with that. But yeah, if he's able to gain that time, he has two lap fresher tires, lap 10 and lap 8 respectively for Ryan B and Alt Maverick. So not too much of a difference. Mr. Water dropping a little bit, but Alt Maverick also pushing, trying to get. I think honestly, if he can get within Ryan B's DRS, that might just be the race over for Mr. Walter, unless he starts to hold him up, but I don't think that will really happen. Almost within a second here, as we head through the middle sector through turn 10 and down through turn 11. Very difficult corner, that is, turn 11, but it's very nice when you get it right. Turn 12, and now up into turn 13, where we saw that incident a little bit earlier. Yeah.
There's a little fight for 11th now. I've seen Jordan catching up to MCR. Them two could go at it soon. Other than that, though, it seems to be quite a stalemate on track at the moment.
Yeah, not much going on. Obviously, we have this little time battle between Ryan B, Alt Maverick, Mr. Water, Bosnia, Major Falcon, all of them. We also have McDutchface, who is still yet to come into the pit lane. Alt Maverick heading down the pit straight. He's down 12% ERS, 11% just dipping down towards before he braked into the first corner. But now he's within DRS range, so he's going to get a little bit of a toe down towards turn 5. So he's going to have enough. Well, he's going to pull a little bit from Mr. Water, obviously, because he doesn't have DRS, does the Aston Martin driver. So, yeah.
Jordan's catching MCR now, and as we know, League of Europe, P12 is the last points position. MCR out of DRS. His red light was flashing, so he's out of ERS. And Jordan, not the best exit there. But I think we'll start to see a scrap. Jordan's got 3 seconds of penalties. We'd assume that the 10 seconds that he has added on will be taken away. So at the moment, Jordan's sitting on 3 seconds.
So yeah, he's still beating out Polypols here. So yeah.
So he could still lose out. He kind of needs to get past MCR because.
And that's P12 done with.
I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble.
Well, that's that battle for P11 over, I would tend to imagine, because Polypols with that time penalty is also out of DRS range. But yeah, just looking back up to the front of the race, undisclosed driver still leading in P1, 2.7 seconds is his lead as he heads through turn 4, looking to keep it on track, which he is indeed doing very well.
Maverick's in DRS, sorry.
Yeah, Maverick is in DRS. Ryan B, not struggling for pace, but not exactly going the fastest that I'm sure he could. Maverick 6/10 of a second behind, but he really needs to pull away from Wouter because that gap is 2.1 seconds right now. So Ryan B a little bit faster than Wouter. Maverick just sticking with Ryan B, and that gap should eventually open up 2.2 seconds now as we head through the middle sector. On lap, well, I guess 25 and a half. If you want to use, or if you want to be try and be accurate. United Bosnia following through. Mr. Waters actually kind of closing here through the middle sector, not having a pretty decent lap is the Aston Martin driver, and Maverick starting to drop back a little bit from Ryan B. But yeah, Major Falcon P6, McDutchface in P7 on those hards, 4 seconds behind Major Falcon, still yet to pit in this race. And then it's Noah J in P8, followed by Cam K and Ivor Bryn, Mike P9 and 10 for the two McLaren boys, and then MCR and Poldy pulls the final 2 points positions. So not, as we mentioned a few times now already, or in the last few minutes, not much going on in this race, but still a few tactical battles going on up towards the front.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we're going to be able to see a lot from maybe Bosnia and Wouter going into the last few laps. Bosnia's tyres, will they last? That's the question, because he did pit really early. You'd assume that we're going to see a drop-off pretty soon in those tyres. So he has to get a move done on Wouter soon if he can. He's got the slipstream and the ERS. Is he going to go for it? Oh, he sent it.
Yeah, he definitely sent it.
Deary me. But he has to get past him soon, because you'd assume those tyres are going to drop anytime soon. And anytime he goes for a move, it's going to be music to Wouter's ears. To Maverick's ears, sorry.
Yeah, Maverick heading through, well, down towards the end of the first sector, was within 0.3 of a second of Ryan B. Was able to get the gap up to from himself to Wouter to 2.5 seconds. So that gap just extending and then closing back down just a little bit through the middle and through the final sectors as all Maverick has to drop back from Ryan B. But if I were Maverick, I would be saving a little bit of ERS. If I were Ryan B, I'd be trying to keep Maverick behind and trying to go as slow as possible to keep him behind as well, just so he gets backed up into Wouter, possibly United Bosnia as well. But I think United Bosnia might just have another shot here. Mr. Wouter, 25% ERS. United Bosnia doesn't have any amount over 5% as of right now. Going into turn one, let's see. The Haas driver is not going to look for the move. Mr. Wouter gives him the room, though, going into the first corner. That means he's going to go wide on the exit there, but is able to keep the position through turn 2 and through turn 3, and now the run up to turn 4. You think United Bosnia would get a little bit of a better run since he didn't have as much of a compromised line. Opening up the DRS, going down the hill towards turn 5, and I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. No, he is not, Mr. Wouter. Ooh, that was close.
They need to be smart here. They need to think of the bigger picture. They have the position on Maverick right now. Well, Bosnia's just dropped out of it because of that. I understand the need to want to go for a position. Right now they have a free position on Maverick. Maverick should also probably think, I don't see how overtaking Ryan benefits him at this point. I really don't.
Yeah, honestly, I would just stay behind until maybe the last 1 or 2 laps and then push as much as you can with the ERS that you've saved up. But I think that's personally how I would play it if I were Maverick. But yeah.
Save your ERS. You've noticed Wouter and Bosnia are going for it. Bosnia's kind of gifting Maverick the podium here if he carries on doing what he's doing. Maverick just needs to save his ERS behind Ryan, push in the last couple of laps to get that 3-second gap. Wouter's just being like he's in such a tough spot because all he wants to do right now.
Oh, Maverick's going for it around the outside.
Why?
He just gives it up though.
Oh.
This is
what are these drivers doing?
This is some questionable behavior from some of these guys. Not gonna lie.
The thing is, this must be so annoying for Wouter because all he wants to do is just stay within Maverick's gap, mind his own race, and he's got Bosnia every single DRS zone sending it.
And Major Falcon as well. Who has a time penalty, we have to mention.
Falcon's got past Bosnia. And this is what, I mean, Bosnia could have had, what, 4th place here? Easy. Yeah. And he's need to get past Wouter, and now he's found himself in 6th place. Obviously, he'll get past Falcon probably, but...
Well, Falcon has a penalty either way, so... Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not... It's the need to overtake at the point and not thinking about what you could get later on, and... This is helping out Maverick in a way, but Maverick needs to be careful, because Wouter... on his own, he's fast enough, but he doesn't have that ERS to play with now, or DRS.
Yeah, exactly. Just looking up towards the front of the race, Undisclosed driver is still leading. He lost a little bit of time to Ryan in the last few laps, but I think that's because Ryan is just trying to keep Alt Maverick behind. Ryan B has used all of his ERS to try to keep Alt Maverick behind, by the way. Alt Maverick draining, looking to the inside of turn one, is not going to go for the move. That was quite ambitious for Maverick there, quite dangerous, but is able to keep it on the track for the time being. He's got the gap to Woucher now, so now he can really do whatever he wants to do with Ryan B. All Maverick getting the better run through turn 4. Ryan B going to look to go defensive. He goes to the middle of the circuit. All Maverick doesn't even follow in the slipstream, but it has the DRS. He's going to try and look around the outside of turn 5. The two championship contenders going side by side here, but Maverick with a time penalty. He's not going to be getting this position you wouldn't think at the end of the race, considering we're on lap 29 of 33, but he's forced to stay behind for another sector in a little bit as Mr. Water tries to close back in once again. Major Falcon unable to put a move on or really challenge Mr. Water out in front of him, but United Bosnia is going to be right on the back of these guys now. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Undisclosed driver, still leading out in front. We have a yellow flag that's for Poldy Poles, who's just had a spin. And that's going to put McDutchface back into the points, you would imagine, considering Poldy Poles is on 12-lap-old hards, and McDutchface is on, well, fresh soft. So that should put McDutchface... Yeah, that should put McDutchface into the points on track, at least. But looking back up to the front of the field, Ryan B and Maverick coming through the final quarter. Mr. Water closed quite a bit through that final sector, and he has saved up just a little bit of ERS. But here comes Ryan B. Ryan B defending, using all of his ERS. Maverick using all of his ERS as well. But with the DRS advantage, he's going to look to the inside of turn 1, and Ryan B is just going to give him that position. All Maverick with a little bit of a slide, but he does give the room on the outside, so it's fair play for these two drivers. But now Ryan B is going to have the advantage going down towards turn 5. He has a little bit more ERS, and he's going to have the DRS. But All Maverick just has the grip through turn 4, is able to get the run, and I think he's going to be safe here.
Yeah, but I think Maverick's harming himself here because, yes, you've got past, but now he's got no ERS to put. That DRS was saving him. That DRS was keeping him out. That 3-second gap, it was the DRS that was helping him because every time we've seen Wouter close the gap, and then the DRS has pulled him away. I would not be surprised if we see Wouter just make it through now because Maverick's not going to get that little DRS boost. This all depends on how fast Maverick can be in these last 3 laps. If he's really fast in clean air, then he'll be able to do it. But if not, I don't think the overtake was the best idea.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I would have personally just waited for the last few laps, save up as much ERS as possible. But now, Maverick is going to get a little bit of DRS off of Energetics, so that should save him going down here towards turn 1. Yeah, he's going to have DRS off of the lapped car. Energetics will move over to the right side.
This guy's the luckiest driver I've ever seen in an F1 season. This is... I can't believe what I see.
Yeah, but now...
Wouter's flying.
Yeah, Wouter's... Oh, and there it goes. 3-second penalty. Pushing just a little bit too hard, trying to get that position.
And this now just opens it up for Major Falcon. He can now go for it.
Yeah. He could.
Oh,
well,
Bosnia's...
yeah. Oh.
See, right, if Bosnia would have never gone for all those moves, Bosnia would have had a podium right now.
Yeah, he could. He could have had a podium. But Ryan Beast, as of right now, still going to be finishing in second. Alt Maverick should get third. Yeah, we'll get third. Mr. Water. Actually, no, it's going to be United Bosnia is going to be finishing P4 as of right now with Mr. Woucher's and Major Falcon's time penalty. So Mr. Water fifth, another decent result for the Aston Martin driver. Major Falcon in P6, another pretty decent result as well.
Can I just imagine if Martin and Maverick swap places? Imagine if Maverick
he'd have to pull a lot of time though.
Yeah, but if Martin just slowed down, held back Ryan B, allowed Maverick to go. I'm just saying.
I don't think that'll happen.
That poor team, what a rubbish teammate. Unbelievable.
No, I personally think it's a little bit too much of a risk, but
poor teammate.
I mean, it's still a very good result for Ferrari. They're outscoring Mercedes quite comfortably with Jordan out of the points. Ryan B, is going to be taking him second, but they're going to have a first and a third and a fastest lap, I think, as well.
Yeah, Mercedes are winning the constructors, so this will close the gap.
Actually, no,
this puts them right back in it.
Yeah, they're right there. They aren't going to get the point for fastest lap, but as of right now, they're scoring 40 points. So, they're definitely outscoring Mercedes, who are only scoring 18. Alpine are scoring what? They're scoring 8 points with Major Falcon in 6th, and then they're scoring 3 points with MCR in 10th. So, they actually might get 11th or 9th here with between the battle between MCR and Iverburn Mike. Puldy Pulls and McDutchface switching positions out on track. McDutchface finally getting the move done on this Alfa Romeo, who's on, 15 lap old hard tires, and McDutchface he just gave him the position. All right, interesting. Yellow flags in the middle sector. That's for Energetics, who's a lap down. Did he have a spin? Because it looks like he's going quite wide. He might have damage. Nothing of notice, or nothing visible. But we are on to the final lap here in Division 4. And this just in, Ariel Nathan did indeed win from Montana and from Verstappen.
He's rapid, though.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm sorry, just to go back to this race for a moment. The gap, I know they've got penalties now, Walter and Falcon, but they're not that far behind. If Maverick does get penalised from the stewards to do with that Jordan incident, obviously we don't know if he will, but if he does, this could drop Maverick from 3rd to 7th.
Well, you would I think it would be license points and then maybe a 1 or 2 place pen. So I don't know.
They don't do second penalties here, do they?
No, they don't. They just do the place pens. MCR and Iverburn Mike going side by side. Fighting for all the points that Alpine can get here is MCR, but he's going to just have to stick in behind. But we are going to have to go to the front of the grid, or the front of the order, because Marty coming around the final corner. Don't bend it here, please.
Unassigned driver, just wait until he gets on the straight.
Imagine crashes into the pit wall. But yeah, Marty will cross the line to take his first win of the season, his first podium of the season for Ferrari here in Portugal. Ryan B is going to take second place for Mercedes and for himself. Alton Maverick will take third place, and he will unfortunately lose the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and Ryan B will assume that by 1 point to the Ferrari driver, but I'm sure Alton Maverick will be quite happy with that 3-second time penalty. United Bosnia will take fourth, followed by Mr. Wilder and Major Falcon, P5 and P6. CPI Noah J will take P7, followed by Cam K and MCR, who did eventually get Iverburn Mike on the line. Slim Khan in P11, and the McDutchface should round out the points position, unless actually Puldy Pulls might get that still. No, he won't. McDutchface is going to take home P12 on that very, very interesting alternate strategy from the hards to the softs. But yeah, race over now, and well, I guess Marty took the win, so yeah.
Very good race from Marty, really impressive. The race overall was quite dull, I'll be honest. Not much happened, but thank you to McDutchface for going on those hards and causing all the drama in the middle of the race. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that was very nice of him, I must admit. But yeah, Cam K, who I didn't see once, is awarded in-game driver of the day. I believe he was P8, I want to say, in front of MCR. But yeah, it's a double Ferrari podium here in Portugal. And then a Mercedes driver splitting those two Ferrari drivers. I'm sure all three drivers will be happy with the results, especially Marty finally putting a race together and a qualifying together as well. Let's not forget he did start P3 on a pretty decent lap and is able to take home that race victory.
Yeah, overall, he just looked like the winner from the start, really. He was so fast. That pit stop as well, we all thought he made the wrong move. Turns out to have been an absolute world-class of a move. We don't know anything.
Yeah, obviously, we're just dumb D2 drivers after all. But yeah, really good strategy from Marty. Good decision on the pit stops. Ryan B, we thought he had it figured out, getting that, taking that pit stop, but obviously we have no idea what we're talking about. Alt Maverick from P7 on the grid to P3, even with that 3-second time penalty. Good job to try and nullify that penalty. United Bosnia will take fourth from second place. A little bit unfortunate, or a little bit disappointing from the Haas driver, but a good result for him and for his team. First real points for Haas this season. Mr. Water P5, he gains one position from his starting grid. As well, Major Falcon picking up 4 positions. A pretty decent race for the Alpine driver. Noah J, Cam K, who went from P19 to P8 after not setting a lap. Then MCR, Iverburn, Mike Slumcon, and McDutchface. McDutchface also picking up the fastest lap of the race. At the end there. So, yeah, decent race overall. Obviously, as you mentioned, it wasn't the most exciting of races, but it wasn't that bad.
It was a good race overall. Towards the end, it kind of settled down a bit. It was more of a watching the penalties kind of race, but different winner again. We're starting to see the championship back and forth all the time. I hope it stays this close to the end. And if Marty can keep this form up, it puts a whole new dynamic with Maverick getting his teammate at the front of the mix as well.
Oh yeah, that's really what we hoped to see at the beginning of the season because they were both up. I think they got a front row in Bahrain, the two of them, with Alt Maverick taking pole, and then obviously the race win at the end of that. We expected them to be up at the front, but Marty with some incidents and not able to do so. But yeah, oh. Well, that's interesting. Not entirely sure what happened there, but I'm going to try and get these guys into the party, and we can get interviews underway. Just have to find their names real quick. We have to invite Alt Maverick. We have to invite Ryan B. Once I get down to him, Ryan B, and then Marty, who I don't believe is on my friends list. Marty, and it's underscore dash underscore 1998. Let's see, Marty, here we go. And let's add them to the party, and we can head over to the showroom and get these drivers' cars up. And let's see who will get into the party first, and we will start with them. And it is our race winner who has joined the party first. Hello? Yeah, we can. Let's just make sure we can hear you on stream as well. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. Oh, Marty, can you please turn your voice on share in the party settings so we can't hear you? But while you do that, I guess we could start with third place finisher, Alt Maverick. Not exactly where you wanted to be in qualifying, P7, but you were able to bring it back in the race and bring it up to P3. What were you really thinking after qualifying heading into the race? Because Austria, you didn't have the most amazing of qualifying either, and what were you thinking after qualifying and heading into the Grand Prix?
I don't know. I was probably about the same as the last two races. Like you said, not the best qualifying. Just working my way through the field really, and just picking my fights, and just being clean with everything. But obviously, that didn't happen with Jordan, and I'm I'm still kicking myself about that one. But it is what it is. But yeah, I kind of knew that being behind Marty, my pit lap was going to be extended one lap, and it was. So, but it worked out in the end, having a bit fresher tires, and I think that's probably the reason why I caught Ryan there at the end. But I think if I can improve on qualifying, I probably won't have to stress about the races so much.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, you were able to bring that back. What were you after you got the 3-second penalty? Where did you expect to be realistically in that race? Just in the moment when you got that penalty, because it was quite early on, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I think mostly because Mr. Wouter and Bosnia and I think Falcon were right behind me about a second and a half for most of that. I kind of figured that I was going to drop down to fifth or sixth place, and that's where I was going to finish. And Ryan would be on the podium, and it'd be another big moment and big storyline for the championship, whatever you want to call it at this point. But I knew if I put my head down and just got racing and did what I didn't know what to do, that I could extend that gap just a little bit. And I was very fortunate that Mr. Wilder picked up a penalty there to help me kind of not have to worry about extending the gap to the guys behind me. and then just focus on catching Ryan, which is eventually what happened. So just thank you, Mr. Wouter, for getting a penalty.
Well, yeah, decent recovery from yourself, especially after that penalty. Looking forward to Belgium next week. I know you have to get going here pretty soon. Just looking forward to Belgium next week. And any thoughts?
Um, it's going to be Belgium. It's going to be a tough track. It's going to be another penalty heavy track with El Rouge and Radion being pretty difficult to take in this game, and Puhan's not necessarily as quick as it has been. So I think penalties are going to be abundant. It's just going to be about keeping it clean and not getting penalties, and just let's hope we don't have a wet race because that will probably be the worst.
Yeah, definitely agreeing with you on that one. But yeah, thank you for your time, Maverick. And congrats on third place. But now we can move on to Ryan B. With that second place finish, you do indeed inherit the championship lead from Alt Maverick. Your lead is, if my math is correct, it should be 1 point heading into the next round of the championship. So, what are your thoughts overall just on that Portuguese Grand Prix?
Um, yeah, I had the opening soft stint was awesome. It was nice and easy. And those mediums, for some reason, I just couldn't make them work. And the outlap just killed me. Marty's pace was phenomenal. So congrats to him.
Yeah. Just looking to, well, the strategy when it came time for pitting, you were one of the earlier drivers to pit. I think only United Bosnia and Ariel Jordan, your teammate, beat you to the gun when it came to coming into the pit lane. What was the thought process around that? And then when you saw Marty coming out in front of you just about around a second gap?
I knew the mediums could last from about lap 11 onwards, so that was the game plan from the start. The outlap is something I wasn't predicted. I was all over the place. I just could not get the tyres to work, so that killed me off really.
Yeah, Jack and I were talking about that in the booth, and that's what we really put it down to. But when you looked at the sector times, they were pretty close between, well, Marty's in lap and your out lap in the middle sector and final sector. But that first sector must have been quite tough then. Looking, well, yeah, I guess looking forward to Belgium. Any thoughts?
It's a great track. It's going to be close again. Hopefully Maverick won't take my teammate out this time, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, bud.
Yeah. Thank you and congrats on second place there, Ryan B. And now we can move on to our first, well, maiden race winner here in Division 4 for, well, at least for the season. It's Marty. How do you feel? Yep, should be. Yeah, 100% there. I'm sure you feel absolutely amazing. But first off, I guess just ask you about what caused you, I guess, to stay out that one extra lap when you saw Ryan B coming into the pit lane? Because Jack and I in the commentary booth said that you probably should have followed him in, but obviously we don't know anything because you were able to jump him there, staying at one more lap. I see. Well, yeah, your plan definitely worked out, and then you ran into a little bit of traffic on your first few laps out of the pit lane, mainly in form of McDutchface. What was the thought process there? Just trying to get around him, and then once again trying to pull that gap out to Ryan B, and then just stay controlling the race from there. Well, unless you had something more to say? Yes? No? All right. Well, then I guess we can ask the final question. Belgium for next week. Thoughts? Hope for another good result. Yeah. Well, thank you. Congrats on your first win of the season, first podium of the season. And I think we can end it off there. So thank you once again to all Maverick, to Ryan B, to you as well, Marty. And I think we can end the stream there. I'm not entirely sure where Jack went, but yeah, that's been it for myself, from Jack, wherever he went. And that's been all, folks.